Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Skull Session Recruiting Podcast, brought to you by BuckeyeHuddle.com. Our National Signing Day coverage continues with our recruiting capsules. We are on to, for my money, I think for a lot of people's money, the number one player in the state of Ohio in the 2026 recruiting class. That is Akron Hoban offensive tackle Sam Greer. Sam is signed now with the Buckeyes. No drama there, no reason to be concerned, but it's official. The Buckeyes sign, for my money, and maybe for a lot of other people's money, the best offensive tackle prospect in Ohio since Paris Johnson. So I think this is a huge one for the Buckeyes. He's kind of emerged as one of the leaders of the class, certainly a guy that was a big pickup early on for the Buckeyes, especially when they were kind of going through a little bit of issue with just recruiting was a little what are they, are they going to get some of these guys? Are they not? How are things going in state? Are they going to lose some of these linemen that are in Ohio this year? Sam Greer commits early, stays firm the whole way, officially a Buckeye. Juck, your thoughts?
It was a beautiful job by Tyler Bowen. It was a beautiful job by Tyler Bowen to walk in an abbreviated class, and Sam was, his decision wasn't going to happen for another 2 or 3 months when he decided to pull the trigger and just say, all right, we're doing this. And I mean, what an awesome day and an awesome video that came out of it, brought his whole family down in surprise coach day right after a practice. Just a massive, massive commitment when we look at so many years of trying to get that out of state 5-star left tackle and coming up, fruitless and everybody being all upset. And it was trending that way for a lot of this cycle for the folks who wouldn't listen, that Sam Greer actually was that dude right here in our backyard. You were trying to tell him, Mark. You tried to tell him all along. And of course, the recruiting services come along in the end. Sam now rivals number 33 player in the country, 1 spot out of 5-star. They better do the right thing and extend that 1 or 2 spots this year. But Sam is a 5-star. He showed it against the best of the best competition this year in the state of Ohio. He showed it in the rivals camp where Kari Wilder proved who he was. That same day, Sam Greer was the best left tackle there, including Felix Ojo in the camp. Sam physically developed now at 320 pounds, 6'7". And when we talk about the frame, the body fat percentage, very low for 320 pounds. We've seen him on the basketball court. He's like a dancing ballerina. And you want to talk about a kid with a chip on his shoulder, man, which you love in an offensive lineman. He's smart, but my gosh, man, there's a fuse that flips with Sam. And I'm up here in Akron. I've seen Sam play a lot of times. He's got a level of dog in him that is just a little bit different, and you love from an offensive lineman. So every bit the 5-star left tackle that everybody should be so excited about. He's that dude. He's that dude. We got him, and we grew him up. We grew him right here, and that doesn't make it any less exciting. It shouldn't be any less exciting. You should be more excited.
Yeah, I have obviously watched Sam going into his sophomore year, and we knew he was a basketball kid, and so there's a bit of a give and take, I think, with basketball players at offensive line, where you love the footwork, you love the feet, the athleticism. There's a lot of things that you can work with athletically, but then there is the whole component of, okay, but is he tough? Does he like to be physical? Will he push guys around who are bigger? Or is he just kind of, a big fish in a small pond in that sense? And I watched Sam in state championship game type settings. And the first thing that jumped out to me was that he was physical, that he was tough, that he played with a bit of a mean streak to him. And that immediately erased any sliver of concern I may have had about him as a prospect, because at that point I had already ranked him the highest. He was my number 1 lineman in Ohio, and it's a great year in Ohio for linemen, but there were other guys on other sites that were ranked higher, and that's fine. But I always had Sam at the top coming out because of this potential, and that's a scary word. So to watch him develop physically, like right now, physically, he is where I thought it would take maybe until his freshman or sophomore year at Ohio State physically.
Same, yeah.
Like he has really put in the work to develop his body to be ready to play early, as early as you can expect an offensive lineman to play, which can be tough. But he is going to come in, as you said, like 320. He's not coming in at 280 and he's got to put on 25 pounds. He's not coming in at 340 and he's got to drop 20 pounds. He's coming in right around that playing weight. And it's been so refreshing to see him not hold on to the basketball dreams in terms of like some of these guys, they wait until the last minute to really commit to football. Some of these guys, again, it takes them a while to realize, hey, I can't just be big and athletic. I got to be tough and physical. Like there are so many components here that make Sam almost a sure thing for me. As much of a sure thing as I can really say an offensive lineman can be, because it is the hardest position to evaluate. But I think the world of Sam. I think he is like just a smidge below Paris Johnson as a prospect. And I thought Paris Johnson was like the best offensive line prospect I've ever seen in Ohio. So like, and I'm old, but I'm not old enough to have watched Orlando Pace in high school. So like, forgive me on that. But like, Paris was kind of the gold standard for me for Ohio offensive tackles. And I think Sam is so close to that. I think he is really, really good.
Man, he really is. The coordination at that size is just, you watch him and he's posted a lot of clips of just drills he's doing. And you look at him and you would think it's a 6'4", 260-pound kid, the way he moves. It's just like guys that are 6'7", 320. And he got mad at me when I posted 6'7", 300 last time. He texted me immediately, 320 now. And he's proud of that because he's worked very hard at that. It's been, something that he's been working at a long time now. And like you said, yeah, gave up the basketball dreams. He was good, very good basketball player, man. He was playing, as a freshman, deep into the playoffs. He was a stud. And, he could have absolutely played D1 basketball, but obviously the future brighter as a left tackle for him. But a coordinated dude, a kid who, he's got a really good kick step. I mean, he's already got a lot of the stuff. He's got long arms. He's got everything. And when you look around the country at the best tackles this year, the Jackson Cantwell, Emmanuel Iheanacho, and Felix Ojo, Sam is right there with them all. Like there is, when we're projecting out, looking at the NFL draft, and you're looking at these prospects here, there is no reason Sam doesn't end up being the best of all of them. There really isn't. Who knows what happens,
right.
But when we talk about like can't miss, we're talking about like as a college starter, like an excellent football player at Ohio State, an excellent starter. Like I feel just as much as you, like this guy will be an excellent starting left tackle at Ohio State at some point in his career. Hopefully you get a couple of years out of him. Just a matter of how fast that happens. But like you said, he's coming in at that weight already. It's the sky's the limit really, but the floor is very, very high.
Yeah, no question. He's just, like I said, he's checked all the boxes for me. And I'm a little critical of the basketball playing offensive tackles, because you just never or the guys who start out like, oh, it's a basketball kid, but he's got a chance to be good. Like I've kind of seen that movie before where they're not tough, or they just can't let go of the basketball thing. Or like, I look back at Caleb Wesson and I'm like, why did you try to be a 6'8" center in a game that in a basketball environment where centers aren't what we think of as centers, going back 20 years. So there's so many things that can derail these big guys. And Sam has just embraced what he is. And he still has all that athleticism. He's had all that upside, but he's limited the risk of him as a prospect in terms of, well, he's not working hard in the weight room, or he's still hung up hoping for that big basketball offer. Like none of that's, he has put his head down and went to work the last 2 years and become an amazing player. And this was one of the best offensive tackle classes nationally I think I can remember. There's 5 or 6 elite guys, but I think Sam's on that top tier. I really do.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I think, tier one's probably, again, 5 or 6 guys. I think Sam's one of those 5 or 6 guys where as you mentioned, any one of them could end up maybe being the first offensive lineman drafted in 3 or 4 years. And we'll see which one of them it is. But I think he's on that tier for sure. And again, I think he's probably going to be a guy who's a captain at Ohio State at some point. Just there's not much I can't say about him. I just he's the total package as a legitimate big time tackle prospect.
He is. He's the real deal. And like, being a diehard Ohio State fan, like I know how it feels and how it's felt for so many cycles missing out on that big target out of state left tackle. And I feel like that there was a lot of this cycle that felt like that, with Ohio State kind of loosely being in on Jackson Cantwell, and then the Felix Ojo thing, and people feeling a lot of that same disappointment. But maybe Sam felt like kind of a consolation prize. And I just want to say, like, this dude is not the consolation prize. Like, he is the prize. And I feel like that wasn't appropriately like put out there earlier, because he was ranked for some reason outside the top 100 for a good portion of the class. They finally came around and realized what we had here. But yeah, man, everybody should be thrilled. And the fact that it didn't come from out of state doesn't mean anything. Doesn't matter. You got the player, and the player is every bit one of those guys. And right now, like, if we're looking at just where they sit right now, like, this is a better dude right now than Felix Ojo. Felix Ojo's got a ceiling that's as high as anybody, but right now, this is the better dude.
Yeah, to me, we talk about this elite group of guys, he's maybe the most ready. If you factor in like his body, where his body's at physically, and just the level of competition he's played in high school, I think there's guys out there who have their body where it needs to be, but maybe didn't play, like Jackson Cantwell, playing against children.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Or you've got guys who maybe have that athletic upside of a Felix Ojo, which is just phenomenal, but maybe needs to get his body, get a little stronger, get a little, kind of fill out a little bit. So I think Sam, you're getting, again, none of these guys are truly ready for what they're going to go up against,
right,
with this thing. But like, I think Sam is probably the most prepared at this point of the group. And so it'll be interesting to see what he can do. But here's just like a general prediction. We've gone through, I covered Felix Ojo, covered David Sanders, made trips to their high schools, talked to them numerous times, all that stuff, seen the disappointment. Ultimately, at the end of the day, this is what I kind of always say. If those guys go somewhere else and are great players, that's okay. As long as the guys you got are good. That, like, it only becomes an issue. Like, who cares if David Sanders is an All-American at Tennessee if Carter Lowe is too?
Carter Lowe,
Ohio State. Or if Ian Moore is at Ohio State. Like, and so my prediction is that I'm not going to make predictions on like, oh, they're going to regret going to other schools. I'm not going to play that game. But what I'm going to say is we're going to look back on this time period and say, you know what? Ian Moore, Carter Lowe, and Sam Greer were pretty good football players. And it's okay. It's okay what happened. It's okay that we didn't, if you're an Ohio State fan, it's okay you didn't get those guys. And it's, the guys you got were really, really good. I really think that's kind of how this is going to play out, where, yes, maybe David Sanders is an All-American. Maybe Felix Ojo becomes an All-American at Texas Tech. But I think they've got some really good players in the program right now, and Ian Moore, Carter Lowe, and Sam Greer, who are going to make that sting a lot less as we progress here the next 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. And I honestly believe that offensive line, like, the difference for your college football team between having that first round left tackle and a 5th round left tackle isn't really much difference on your college football team. It's a difference on the next level. But on your college football team, that 5th rounder, like, the point differential at the end of the day isn't much difference. And that's just saying, like, honestly, that's probably a floor for Sam. I think Sam's going to be a total dude. I think Ian's already shown us in the limited time that he's played with that one start, like, yeah, wow, that's a 2nd-year kid, man. out there doing the darn thing, like good enough that I thought, man, maybe he might take that role over immediately. And then obviously Carter got all the physical tools. We haven't seen it out there yet, but yeah, this is a loaded couple of guys right here. Like this is a really strong core at tackle we got going on moving forward.
Yep. And so a really solid overall O-line class, which we'll talk about all these guys eventually. Really solid O-line class for Tyler Bowen. 27's off to a really good start. 27 is very deep in Ohio. We thought 26 was really good in Ohio. 27 might be even better. 27 is like 7, 8, 9 guys deep right now on the offensive line just in Ohio. You're starting to see the Buckeyes take advantage of that. O-line recruiting woes seem to be turning around, and maybe Ohio State fans will get a little more joy out of O-line recruiting now that things have turned around a little bit, and have it not be such a point of consternation or whatever constantly. But big one here with Sam Greer, signed with the Buckeyes today. So we'll continue our signing day coverage here at BuckeyeHuddle.com, and check us out at YouTube.com/BuckeyeHuddle throughout the day for capsules like this. We're going to have live show, talking about the class, answering questions. Of course, you can always do that on the message board at BuckeyeHuddle.com. Come in there and talk about the recruiting class or signing day or somewhat big game coming up on Saturday night you might want to be talking about as well. I'm going to be at the Ohio High School Football Championships. I think Juck might be potentially joining me for one or two of those games as well, but we'll have coverage of the Ohio High School Football Championships this weekend in Canton as well. Plus, our guys will be on the road at the Big Ten Championship game in Indianapolis for on-the-ground coverage there. But thanks, everyone, for supporting us, watching, listening, and we'll talk to you again soon.